Good morning, beautiful people. If it's morning for you, if not, good afternoon or good evening. There has been so much that's transpired during the week, as I'm sure within your life as well. But there were several things specifically that helped me to get through the week, to lean on. And I wanted to take this time to share it with you in the event that you find it helpful and something that you can utilize today and going forward. So the three things, let's start with number one, the original version of the Bible. We'll talk about that. The time isn't linear, second conversation. And lastly, we'll talk about prayer. If you're connected with me on Instagram, I do hope we're Instagram friends. It's at innercosmetics_. I do little excerpts of what the things that have resonated with me, but I love connecting with you on this platform because I get to deep dive into it. So let's start with the original version of the Bible. And this is really, really important because the original version of the Bible is you. The word is encrypted within your heart. And it's important to remember that because there's so many different versions of the Bible. And with myself, again, I think I feel the need to always preface the conversation as I don't see this as good. I don't see this as bad. It's just an isness to this awakening. And it all works for us if we allow it to. And so there was a hypnotism that you undergo. I'll speak for myself. I underwent when I was introduced to the King James Version of the Bible. And I won't go into any further details than invite you to look up the author, look up King James, look into his history. And when we do things like that, I feel that allows more discernment to set in, like, oh, who is this individual? Do I like how they conduct their affairs? And then you can look at this version and say, because funny conversation, I'm driving with my brother, right? And he said, Elle, when you have different versions of the Bible, it's really similar to saying, let's say, choose a president, Obama. Obama could have his version. It's called Obama's version of the Bible. And we might laugh at that. We might laugh and think that's funny. However, if you have soldiers showing up at your door threatening you with guns, and for you to receive this version of the Bible, it's not so funny, right? And in there, he might have an excerpt that says, thou must obey the doctors. And now everyone, And so I say that to say, although that might have seemed funny until you realize what pressure you might be under to accept a version of the Bible, it's the same with the King James Version that was forced onto people. And it's important to remember that if anything that you're reading, it's material and it is here, it can definitely serve us. But to understand that that word is written, it's encrypted in your heart. And so whenever you might read something that you're like, it doesn't really align, because you have the true version. You are the true version. So never forget that. And it's important to. And I'll say this, I never felt a desire to, or an inclination, I should say, to read a version prior to King James Version. And all of a sudden I did. I said, well, what preceded the King James Version? And it's called 1599 Geneva. And even prior to the 1599 Geneva, there's just the Geneva version. And I said, wow, I was really excited to explore this. One particular verse spoke to me that I wanted to look up, and it was about the love of money is the root of evil. I wanted to know, was there any change to that verse at all? Does it still read the same from the King James Version to the 1599 Geneva Version? And it's not. And it's not. The love of money is the root of evil. It's what the King James Version reads. If you read the version that precedes that, it says the desire of money. That's a drastic difference. When you're desiring something, there's a separation, because anything that you're desiring, you don't realize it's already yours. So you're separating spiritual man from really the essence of who you are when there is any desire. And so when that word, that little word, makes a big difference, when you switch out desire for love, now let's read it. The love of money is the root of evil. How can love be the root of evil? And that's what I mean with discernment. And it's not trying to push anything on you. It was what just wasn't aligning with my own encryption, my true version of the Bible, reading that the love of money is the root of evil. I'm love. I'm love. And it's severing you from the abundance of the all. When you say, I can love this, I can love this child, I can love this flower, I can love this sweater. But when it comes to money, the love of money is the root of evil. And that, again, was one of the things that helped me recognize I'm the original version. I feel when I'm doing something that doesn't align. I feel when I need to just move in a direction that's best for me. Regardless of what anything material, remember, even our physical body, at some point, anything material doesn't stay. It doesn't last. So imagine if every book in the world, all the different religions, every book was burned, no longer existed. What do you go on? And so, again, to summarize, just a nice reminder that it's always encrypted within you. All right, so our second point was time isn't linear. Mm, mm, mm. This was a big, big one for me. Time isn't linear because, well, it's not. And why was that helpful for me? You know, guys, I was doing a project. I'll say that. I was doing a project and there's more excitement to actually sharing that. That's why I'm being selective on what I actually say, because that's for an entire different video and I want to keep on track. And I had this initial belief that in order for me to get to this next place over here, this project had to be complete. And that's not true, because time isn't linear. This is totally separate from this over here, but it's the illusion that this over here is contingent on this being completed. So you have A and B, and it's like, well, B can't be done if A isn't complete, and that's not true. So we create that contingency factor, and when you create a contingency, then you feel that frustration if this part over here isn't being done, because this can't be complete if this is, and that it's not true. And it's allowing ourselves to be a witness when we understand, when we remember that time isn't linear in that way. The B experience has nothing to do with the A experience, because that's the illusion. That's the illusion that it gives. So just look at B as a separate experience, and whatever it is that you like to blossom from experience B, just allow that space here. Allow it to be its own experience. Allow yourself to witness the beauty of it. Now, it might so happen that something happens over here at A, and it might seem like, wow, but it really doesn't. And so I think that was helpful because it allows the joy to be here in the experience once we allow each separate thing to be its own. And that's what we're ultimately here for. Freeing ourselves from all this frustration. We want to be a witness to God, the God within us, flowing to the beauty, to the freedom that we are. And this was a really big element to allowing that to take place. And so lastly, we had prayer. Another huge one. I don't know about you. You can definitely share in the comments below, whether you could just say, the same in regards to prayer, or you may have had a different understanding of prayer than I had. But I was taught that prayer was kneeling, asking, fervently for something to take place in your life. And here I am is saying that's so delayed, because there's an excerpt that says he knows what you want even before you think, even before you ask. So by the time you're in prayer and you're expressing that, that's so delayed. You're not even in the same time period, the same time frame. You're so far back. And that's another illusion, because if he knows what you want even before you think, even before you ask, when you have that inclination of wanting, that is it already. If you want to say, that's not even actually prayer, so I'm not going to label that as prayer. You're already doing the asking. It's imprinted, it's organic, it's nothing that you have to now separate and do. So then prayer is rejoicing in it already being done. Let it go. It's already happened. You already set out the call. And when I begin stepping into that, it's like, wow, things now, it seems like you're flying. It's like, because you switched. You switched how the energy is being projected from your vessel. It's one thing for it to sit there for, oh God, please, oh please, this, and what energy are you sending out? You're sending out the energy that you didn't realize. You're still in the past. You didn't realize it happened already. You're still sitting there asking. But when you're sitting there and saying, thank you for this working out, oh my goodness, and not just saying that. There's one thing just to say it, but to feel it. Feel it. That's what's really going to make the difference is, feel it. How did you receive this message? Where were you when you got the news, right? What are you drinking? Maybe what kind of outfit did you, put yourself in there. Thank you. And that's prayer. Already seeing. I think you'll like this. There's one more Bible verse that I wanted to share with you that was insightful. All right, so I'm going to read it off. Froward dispositions of men, of corrupt minds, and destitute of the truth, which think that gain is godliness. From such separate thyself. But godliness is great gain, if a man be content with what he has. That was like, wow, there's nothing to gain. And to the moment we think, just like desire, there's nothing to desire and there's nothing to gain. And the moment you believe that there's something to gain, there's something more to get in your life, more money and more car, the moment you think that there's more to gain, that is a separation. But godliness, like it says, is great gain if you're content with what you have. You already realize the all exists and that we're time travelers, if you want, being witness to all the beauty. More and more, it's just going to continue flowing in, but it was already there. There's nothing to gain. And so I hope these three things that have propelled and made this week so beautiful for me is something that you feel like, man, I can really carry that into my own life as well, because that's what we're here for. We're here to share. And as we share, as we connect, it really, I'm realizing more and more, it really enhances the journey as you share. Okay, so thank you for supporting the channel, for your comments, for your love, for your energy. I appreciate you so much. And I'm going to see you guys on the next video. Until then, stay blessed.